everything EV that you need to know. Renewable thought of the day.
So when it comes to charging, there's a few things that you should really know first, and it's understanding like your battery's capacity. Make sure to check the range of your EV, and plan accordingly. Now let's just assume for this video that your vehicle will go 300 miles on a charge. Now that's fantastic, but let's talk about first, getting it charging there. There are three types of charging. There is a level 1, level 2, and level 3. There is a great website here called greencars.com. And I'm going to use some of the references here about the different levels of charging, and this is where it's a good place to find information.
Would it be okay with you if I asked you to please listen closely? We have an extra surprise for you if you stay until the end.
Yes! Yes!
So there is a level 2 charging, okay? And this you'll find you can have this in your home. It costs a little bit of money for electrician, and probably at your workplace you'll find a level 2. What a level 2 is, it runs on a 220 volt outlet, so you'll need an electrician to install this at your house. And what you're going to get here is 12 to 80 miles per hour of charge. Level 2 you'll probably also going to find at the workplace. So if wherever you work, they might have a level 2 charger, and you could probably plug it in for a few hours, top it off if they're paying for it, and then give it to the next guy. A supercharger, this is a level 3, and this is a charging that is going to take maybe 30 to 40 minutes for a full charge. The next thing we're going to talk about is the charging capacity long term. Like, does your battery get worn out after charging it so much? So over here we're at batteryuniversity.com. The links are down in the description. And if you can think of it this way, when you buy a brand new cell phone or a brand new laptop, the battery lasts a long time. And as you charge, uncharge, over time, it seems to not hold the charge as long, and you need to keep charging it over and over and sooner. So this graph right here, it's very technical, but if you look at the left side here from like 10 all the way up to 100, this is the capacity of your battery. So when it's brand new, your BEV is brand new, your cell phone's brand new, it's gonna be able to handle 100% charge. Over time, and this is called cycles, which is on the bottom here, as you charge every night, every week, that is considered a cycle. You plug it in, it charges up, unplug it, that is one cycle. So as you add the cycles and you charge it over time, over months, over years, you can see this graph starts to go down. Now, as in all batteries and everything, flashlights, especially kids' toys, when that battery is brand new and you turn that thing on, boom, it's fantastic. Your electric car is going to be like that also. Now, the best use of your battery in almost all of your appliances is at the 80% range all the way down to the 20% range. This is like the sweet spot, or the driving range, we call it right here. The next thing is charging etiquette. Now, this is a great one here. We're at energy.gov, and again, the link is down below. But yes, there is an etiquette. I mean, think of yourself being at a restaurant, it's busy, it's your lunchtime, you've only got so much time, and you've got your food, but all the tables are full. And, there is somebody there on their cell phone just scrolling through, and they've eaten already, and they're just taking up space. And it's like, come on, let someone else sit there. The same thing goes with the EV charging. Yes, there are etiquette tips here. And the first thing to do is, hey, park at the correct plug, because avoid skipping the line, okay? It's not a resting place. As I said, when someone's at a restaurant and they're just parked there, surfing their phone, another good one is at the gym. If you're waiting for a workout equipment and you're there waiting and someone has been there for 10 minutes, they're not lifting weights, they're not exercising, they're just on their phone. Well, what's up with that, right? Pay attention to the signs, okay? Temptation here. You know, drivers of gas or diesel powered cars, they could, if it's crowded, you know, they could also go in and find an electric vehicle spot and park there. It's like the handicap thing. So please be considerate the smart charging. And wallbox.com, and again, there's another link down below. They've come up with some really great ideas here on what smart charging and how to follow along with it. Basic first thing is going to be is you can tell your car like when to charge. You can program your smart charger to charge when it's cheaper. And this could also go true with smart chargers, because at certain supercharging stations, these are public, the one that are in the parking lots here, and this is from Tesla, right? The cost of supercharging during peak hours will be higher than that of off-peak hours. 10 ways to squeeze the most driving range from your electric vehicle. You want to know how to get the most out of the battery, how to charge it the best, and all that. And so one of the things that, Stan, they've got here is to drive gently. And I would think that makes a lot of sense, not to just go ahead and, you know, gun the engine.
Here, whenever traffic allows, that you should drive as if there's an egg between your foot and the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal.
Regenerative braking in town.
Even if you're coming to a stop sign, put the brake on a little bit, and then you will regenerate the electricity in your hybrid or your battery. So in other words, you just touch it a little bit, and then you will use the motor or to slow down the car and regenerate the battery at the same time.
The next is going to be preconditioning the car. And what that means is if it's hot outside and I want the air conditioning to turn on and cool the car down, or if it's cold outside, I want to heat the car. And if you're an electric vehicle owner, you know that heating the cabin of the car is that takes up a lot of juice. But preconditioning the car would be for you to set up your climate control while it's still plugged in and charging. 6 things that you really need to know that you probably don't know when it comes to your EV and having fantastic performance and longevity for it. First one is regular battery health check. Learn how to access your battery, the health of your battery. This is a screenshot from my cell phone here, and I have an iPhone, 12 or 11, one of the older ones. But if you go into the settings, you can see there's a battery health and charging. And right now, my phone is a few years old, and it says maximum capacity of 91%. And if you read here, phone batteries, like all rechargeable batteries, including EV batteries, they have consumables, and over time, they're going to become less effective and less efficient. So we want to learn how to properly charge the battery. How to access charging networks hassle-free for your EV. Even if you're not an EV owner, I'm sure you've seen or heard of these charging stations all over the place where you drive and then you just kind of pull in and you plug in, you fill up really quick. Well, where are they at? And is there enough? Is there one convenient, or do I need to go out of my way? Do I need to pull over at a Starbucks and buy coffee in order to waste some time? And the thing about these superchargers, these chargers that are in public, is when you pull in, yeah, you do need to pay and you do need to wait. And you probably are starting to see them all over the place. Most people would think that charging at home is right for them because they could just pull it at home, plug it in, and boom, boom, bam. And then they get charged. The next morning they wake up and they've got a full charge. And that's fantastic. And I believe that everybody should have something like that at their home, just in case. Keep the battery where they need it to be. Now, the sweet spot for the battery is between 20 to 80%. There's another video up there on how that works and why you should keep it in that sweet spot of 80% 80%, 20% charge. You know, which is best? You know, 240 volt level 2, which you can have at your work or at your home. And over here, level 3, which is fast charging. They'll go over that, and you can learn a lot by going to these websites. And one of the things that Toyota also does is they have partnered with EVgo, or at least EVgo they're on each other's website, and you can find convenient places and ways to charge your vehicle in public. Now, what I've found here in the U.S. Department of Energy, their alternative fuels data center, what they have is a map of the a map of the world actually, but a map of the United States here, and you can choose level 1, 2, or the DC fast charging, level 3. You can change choose the different connectors. Excuse me, my throat's got me. Choose the different connectors that you've got, and we're just going to stay with all here. And then you can zoom out somewhere like zoom in like Southern California, and you can go boom right to the specific. Where is this thing at? Like Oceanside Municipal Airport. Hey, there's parking over here. You can kind of keep on going in. Level 1, 2, and level 3 charging times in detail. Geek out the differences between these 3 different levels and why you should worry about it, or maybe why you shouldn't worry about it. Then that way you can overthink and geek out this on yourself and make your own decision. All right, from Tesla, and it's based on 240 volts or 220 volts. So for this example here at 15 amps, let's just call it, we're going to need to double the charging time because we're going to be using 110 volts instead of 220. So instead of 10 hours, or 10 miles per hour of charge, it's going to be 5 miles per hour of charge. Now, to get 50 miles, let's say you're driving to and from work and a stop at the grocery store or something like that, in a quick errand, and you need to charge 50 miles per day. So this plug-in 110 volt at 15 amps, let's say, the extension cord route, level 1, it's going to go 5 miles per hour of charge, and at 50 miles, you're going to need to charge for 10 hours. Now, it's something to keep in mind here because this is all part of your charging plan. And when you charge up your EV, or when you're new at it or something like that, you need to figure out what works best for you, basically. In an emergency, having an extension cord or this 110. Now, let's moving on to level number 2. This is going to be the most common charger, and it's 220, 240 volts, and they're going to range from 20 amps to 60 amps. And what's the difference here? Well, the more amps, it's the more capable of the charger is that can give your battery, that can give your car. So that's really all going to determine on where you're at. Like if it's at your home, you have a level 2, maybe you only got a 30 amp charger or a 40 amp service, something like that. Maybe you have a charger at work and the boss is providing that. Maybe that's a little bit higher off. Now, when you get into these higher amps, it costs more for an electrician, et cetera, et cetera. But again, what you want to keep in mind and record this and test it and try it and do a little case study for yourself here. This is the geek part of me, is plug in to the same spot, all right, where they be at home, drain your battery, plug in the same spot, and so that way you know how many hours it takes at point home. And then if you're at work, how many hours does it take to get from 20% to 80%? Let's just call that the sweet spot still, all right? What's good for 2024 and the EV tax credits, of course. We're going to first start with the point of sale tax credit, and we're going to explain on the details and how you're going to get that and what's going to be the difference from 2023. And then we're going to highlight what this credit and how the implications are going to affect you, the EV buyer, and what that's going to mean in your bottom line. Then the second thing we're going to talk about is changes in eligibility. we're going to discuss, are you eligible? Are the dealers eligible? Let's first start on the point of sale eligibility. And what is point of sale? Point of sale that's exactly where you bought it. If you're going to go buy a pair of shoes or something like that, when you go to the store, you got your shoes, you do the checkout, boom, okay? That's when you get your discounts, and it's going to be the same for point of sale EVs. Before, in the past, what happened was you would do your taxes and then it would come in form of a rebate if you qualified for all that rebate. So right now, what's going to happen is it's going to be this point of sale, which means you're going to get it right away immediately. And the government did a survey, and most people would rather have the money up front, get it back in cash. It could be your down payment at the dealer, et cetera, et cetera. And here's what the government, federal government in the United States here says. Under the Inflation Reduction Act, consumers can choose to transfer their new clean vehicle credit of up to $7,500, which is same as last year. And if maybe they have a previously owned vehicle, up to $4,000 if it's 2 years old, if it's like a 2021 or earlier than that. So that would be starting January 1st, 2024, and this is being recorded on the 10th, so you're good right now. And this is going to effectively lower the vehicle's purchase price by providing you, the consumer, with an upfront down payment on your clean vehicle at the point of sale when you decide to buy it, rather than having to wait to claim the credit on your tax return the following year. If you know just a little bit about electric vehicles, you know that they catch on fire. And we all know that because when the news gets a hold of a fire on one, boom, it's everything, and they make a big deal about it. Do electric cars start fires more often than ICE or internal combustion engines? What's the truth about that? And believe me, this is not clickbait.
Are electric cars really sparking more fires, or is it just a bunch of hot air? Well, we've decided to cut through the haze and get to the bottom of this. We've scoured data from the National Transportation Safety Board, the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, and recalls.gov to bring you the real scoop. Ready to douse the flames of confusion and light the spark of knowledge? Buckle up. So, where did this fiery data come from, you may ask? Well, let's journey into the world of data collection. Our first surprise, hybrid-powered cars. Now you'd think these half-electric, half-gasoline hybrids would be sitting pretty in the middle, right? Wrong. Turns out these bad boys were involved in about 3,475 fires per every 100,000 sold.
Remember now, hybrids, they've been around a lot longer than just regular EVs, but they never make the news. You never hear about them. And what you're going to find out when you continue to listen here in our video is where the hybrids come in on the risk of fire in the statistics.
Talk about a hot ride. Next up, gasoline-powered cars. These old-school gas-guzzling machines came in at around 1,530 fires per every 100,000 sold. Not quite as fiery as the hybrids, but still pretty sizzling. And then there were the electric vehicles. The media loves a good EV fire story, but our data told a different tale. Electric vehicles saw just 25 fires per every 100,000 sold. That's right, 25.
EV Battery Health 101. Let's get started here. Talking about your battery health for your EV. Now, your EV, it's only going to be new once. And, as time goes by, it's going to get charged and uncharged, discharged, and all these cycles that are going to be adding up, and eventually, obviously, your battery won't be new anymore. It's going to be used. What can you do as far as your EV to, minimize the amount of wear and tear on your EV? The first thing you can do is charging your EV slow. If you can charge your battery consistently, your battery is just going to love you. And 20% is where you want to keep your battery charged. It just works best. It's not empty and it's not completely full. Now, how do we do that? chargers have gotten smarter lately, and if we want to keep the thing, we're driving our car and we can see when it's getting to be about 20%. Do the best you can to be consistent. Back to the fast chargers. Fast chargers, now sometimes you're going to need that, and you're going to be glad that you have that when you're going on long trips and you need to plug in order to get to the rest of the way. You're going to want to take full advantage of that fast charger, maybe even up to 100%. I think that you will need to learn how your vehicle accepts charges and how your driving habits and how far you can go. Of course, all that is on your screen, on your car, and on your apps, on how many miles you can get out of it.
10 expert tips to conquer range anxiety in electric cars. Renewable thought of the day.
Ever been bitten by the range anxiety bug in your electric vehicle? Well, fret no more. Yes, we're talking about that pesky little critter that gnaws at your peace of mind, making you wonder if you'll make it to the next charging station. It's the infamous range anxiety, an all too familiar foe for electric vehicle owners worldwide. But before you start picturing a gremlin sabotaging your eco-friendly ride, let's clarify. Range anxiety isn't a mythological creature, but rather a real concern for electric vehicle drivers. Tip number 1, be a scout. Always be prepared. You wouldn't go on a camping trip without packing a tent, right? The same principle applies to electric vehicle journeys. Before you even think about hitting the road, you should already know where your charging stations are. It's like mapping out your pit stops. Now you might be thinking, but I'm not a scout. Well, neither am I. But the idea here is to be prepared. Time for tip number 2, know thy chariot. In the grand quest of conquering range anxiety, it's crucial to familiarize yourself with your electric vehicle's range. Your chariot's range isn't just a number on a dashboard, oh no. It's a magical figure, a dance between technology and the elements, fluctuating based on driving conditions. Think of it as the number of miles your electric stallion can gallop before it needs to stop for a sip of electric nectar. Uphill travels, heavy foot on the accelerator, or even a chilly day can impact this.
EV communities, what are they, and should you belong to them, or do you live in one? And really, there are 2 types of main communities. Be like the community that you live in, like your area or your city, and then of course the community like the social media community. So let's just say, and as of in mid-2023, that's where this data is coming from, AmericaCityandCounty.com here has got a gallery of the top 10 American cities most friendly for EVs. Was Seattle, number 2 is San Francisco, and moving on, number 3, San Jose, California, Portland, Oregon, San Diego, Sacramento, California, Los Angeles, finally Miami, someone on the East Coast, then back to Riverside, California, and then Stockton, California. So it seems obvious that most of these are in the West Coast, California, Oregon, and Washington, and that's where a lot of the tech is at, and that's electric cars, let's just face it. They are tech. Next is the social community. So we're going to say this is like, hey, the social media type thing. I know I like the quotey fingers. But why would someone want to stay plugged in into a social events, and especially like local clubs and etc.? Well, probably one of the most important reasons would be to collaborate with other people in the area and see what kind of hacks, some kind of good and bad that they might have had, and be able to share that. And then when you get on the computer, when you're actually on social media forums about the cars, the good news about this is that you are a person, and there's other real people that are sharing. Again, they're good, they're bad, and if they've had some kind of problems, how did they get it fixed? Hey, look, thanks for watching Go Green Hub. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Any kind of comments, just let us know down there in the comments, and we'll get your answers back to it. Subscribe, like, have a fantastic day, and I hope you choose to save the planet.
And don't forget, we have a surprise for you. Yay, surprise! Hey out there, we would like to give away one of these coffee cups or a Go Green Hub water bottle. Anyway, we're going to give away one, so let us know if you're interested. Give us a comment, and we will draw for one free coffee cup or Go Green Hub water bottle. Yes, the Go Green Hub is the go-to source for all things of sustainable energy and transportation.